This video is a demonstration of the GeoSketch function to import a shapefile. We'll select the shapefile, and there are 395 aerial features. We'll choose to load in all of these features. GeoSketch found a height attribute, which gives a height for each of the aerials to extrude them, or we could use a default height. We need to specify the units for the height, which in this case are in feet. GeoSketch also found a roof type attribute, which will give a type of roof for each aerial. If there had been no roof type attribute, we could set it manually, or we could choose to have random roof types. But in this case, we do have a height attribute. So go ahead and load in the shapes. We currently do not have a nadir image loaded or any oblique images, so the polygons will not be textured, but we can get an idea for the size of the shapes, the coverage area, and also the complexity of the shapes. So you see, although there are the 395 shapes, and some of them are overlapping. So now we'll open up a model that has the pictometry, oblique, and ortho images loaded for this area. And then we'll just load in a subset of these shapes and texture them from the oblique images. So here's our five oblique images of the area and also ortho image. So now when we import the shapefile, we'll choose the option to only import the part that's in a rectangle, which we'll digitize. So we'll digitize the area that we have the ortho coverage. And again, we'll say that our height is in feet. And now it'll just load in the shapes that are in that rectangle. And it textures them using the obliques and puts the ortho texture on the roof. This building has a flat roof by default from the shapefile, but the actual roof is sloping, so we'll go in and edit that. Select that shape and edit it, and we'll need to turn off the modify texture on modified faces. Select this edge and use the move tool, and I'm holding down the up arrow to constrain the movement of it to the Z direction, so we're just moving it straight down to where we see that. And now we'll select that face and retexture it. And our camera model is a little bit off, so while we have that face selected, we can go ahead and use the texture face tool. We'll hide this image since it's in front of the other. And we'll just use the texture face tool to redefine the mapping of that texture onto the face. And accept that. So now we'll also look at the other side of that building. Do the same thing. Select it to edit. Select that edge and use the move tool to move it down. There. Retexture that face. And again, we need to adjust the camera projection. Line up one corner and move this edge to line up two other corners, and go down and line up these. Okay, we also see a pitched roof building over here behind that building. It's a church, and it looks like our default setting for the roof pitch was not correct. We can measure that roof pitch, or we can just edit it in place. So we'll select that group, and we'll select the ridge line. And for a gable roof, when you select the ridge line, you also want to get the ridge line that's underneath, so that when we move it, we can move the whole roof pitch. So we'll right click and go to the pitched roof context menu and choose the ridge edges. Now we get the top ridge edge as well as the ridge edges underneath. So when we use the move tool, and again I'll hold down the up arrow to constrain the movement in the Z direction, we're moving all of the roof geometry, and the adjacent faces are changing. And now it appears that our roof is too high, so also use that pitched roof context menu to select all the roof eave and fascia faces so that we can move the entire roof up and down. And then continue using the move tool to move that roof to the proper height. and we get a better projection. Now, when it textures the roof, it uses the settings of the pitched roof tool, and will specify to only use the nadir image for texturing the roof. And when we also use the pitched roof tool to retexture all of the primitives, we'll get that nice roof texture, and then the oblique images for all the wall textures. We'll also close that group, and we need to move the spire up, so we can use either the SketchUp Move tool or the GeoSketch Move tool. Select it, and I'll use the Alt key to move it in the Z direction, and then I can also move it to get it into the proper location, and that completes the edits for that pitched roof.